Hello and welcome to the very latest episode of the How I Failed in Business, the podcast that is designed to remind people that mistakes happen, blunders happen, failures happen. Not everything is quite as it seems. I'm Rob Spence, one of your hosts, and I'm today joined with...
Megan Grace, the other one of your hosts.
The other one of my hosts. To be fair, I did say it as if, like, I'm normally joined by someone else, but it's become you.
It's me.
Well, welcome to today's episode, listener.
Yeah.
How are you, Megan? Are you okay?
I'm good. How are you?
I'll be honest, I'm really hot. Of course, Molly's here. Molly's not mic'd up, but Molly is here. We are all hot today.
Yeah, it's warm in here.
I think we need to invest in some aircon in the studio a little bit. But how's your week been so far?
Yeah, it's been okay.
Good.
It's been good. How's your week been?
It's been all right. Do you know what I'm really looking forward to?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give a massive shout out to the people that host our podcast, Acast.
Yeah.
Because where are we going tomorrow?
We're going to Acast Studios.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. We've got some masterclasses. What's up, Molly?
Yeah, we are.
Molly's brave because she's not got a microphone. She thinks that she's going to be left out of any banter. But yeah, Molly, Megan and I are going to Acast Studios for a bit of learning, bit of mingling, bit of networking.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were down in London?
Ooh, a while ago. Can't actually think. A good couple of years ago.
Serious?
Yeah.
Years?
Not been to London in ages.
Really?
Which is annoying because, like, I have so many of my friends who go to uni there.
You got friends?
I know. Crazy, right? Crazy. So my friends go to uni there and I keep saying I'll visit you. And now they're all in their third year and I'm like, well, when am I gonna go?
You do know that you can just take the lead on that and you can just go.
Yeah, I know, but I've sort of like, we've kept saying we'll like arrange something because I don't want to crash if they're busy. They've got like uni, friends, jobs. I can't just show up and be like, hi.
Yeah, you can.
No, it has to be like arranged, but I'm a bit of a bad friend, I guess.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you could be better. I just think take the ball by the horns. Just say, look, guys, girls, I'm planning on coming down to London on such and such a date. I've booked myself a little hotel for the night. We be around.
And what if they say no?
Then don't book the hotel until they say yes.
No.
That makes the most sense. But do you like London, Molly? Oh, she's not mic'd up, is she? No, you hate London?
Molly.
You think it's disgusting? Molly, you can't.
No.
You can't say that's horrendous.
You
can't say
hate
stuff like
everyone
that.
from London.
Oh my
Molly,
God.
that's not nice.
Right, it's a good job Molly's not mic'd up,
Yeah, I
isn't
know.
it? So I'm well looking forward to it. It's going to be a long day. But I love the big smoke. I always come away feeling like motivated.
I do love it.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah.
I've not been for a while, but I do love it.
I'll take you both. I'll take you to both to get some nice coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Take you to dinner afterwards if you fancy it. We'll make like a good day
to
of
the
it.
Ritz.
Afternoon tea at the Ritz.
Yeah,
Do
you
know
always
what?
talk about it.
Do you know what? I'm not against it. I just don't think we'd have time. And we need to maybe kind of work on some of your etiquette and demeanour before I take...
What do you mean?
Well, I said to you once, what's the best restaurant you've ever eaten at? And you said like Five Guys.
No, I didn't. I said Aziz's. I like Italian food. I couldn't think. What's wrong with Zizzi's?
Look, nothing is wrong with Zizzi's, right? It's lovely.
What was your favourite restaurant?
Well, probably the Ritz, maybe. The Ritz.
All of us have been to the Ritz.
The Ritz was lovely. That's a good question, actually. There was I forget the name of it. There was a lovely place I went and ate in Soho. I should probably know the name. Yeah, the Ritz is up there. Do you know where I wouldn't recommend in London? It's all the rage. Like celebrities love it. Novikov. Have you ever heard of a restaurant called Novikov?
No.
It was so weird. It looked great. It's got this appeal of this incredible restaurant, blah, blah. And spenny as well. I spent £56 alone on shavings of truffle, which I get because truffle is a very expensive fungi, right? It's there's not mushroom left on the bill when you buy truffle, because it's a fungi. It's not, anyway. So, but like literally shavings of truffle, 56 quid just for that. But it was loud. They had like really loud music on. I didn't know whether I was in a nightclub or in a restaurant. But, but if you ever get the chance to eat at the Ritz, I'd say do it.
When am I ever gonna find myself in the position to eat at the Ritz.
I will find you tomorrow. Right, tomorrow.
There we go.
Yeah, budget might not allow it, but we'll just send you to eat at the Ritz. Me and Molly will just.
Oh, that's fine.
We'll hit up
I'm okay with
Zizi's.
that. Yeah.
Apparently, it's really nice there.
It is. The food's good. I'm sorry it's not all like rich and snobby. Screaming privilege right now, really.
Well, what we will do, keep an eye on our socials. We'll make sure we share our journey down to London and what we got up to and so on. But for those of you that are watching over on YouTube and checking out socials, you'll know that something's a little bit different set here. We've got Taylor is here, the Taylor time tracker, and a screen. Why have we got a screen, Megan?
Well, today we are joined by our very first guest.
Which
is so exciting.
We are. Give us some clues. Who have we got on the show today? I mean, it probably says it in the title.
I was going to say it in the title.
Yeah.
Some clues.
He was the winner of Big Brother 2005.
2005.
Yeah, and you were 2 years old then.
I was 2 years old at that time.
That is insane. Insane. He is the CEO, the founder of a fantastic men's mental health awareness company, a barber, advocate for barber, has done many things in his life, including a dance troupe. Shall we reveal who we've got on? We have got on, I hope this works, Anthony Hutton. Anthony Hutton will be joining us in just a few seconds. So, look, without further ado, shall we get him on the screen? Okay, and without further ado, I welcome today's guest, our first guest of season 2, Anthony Hutton, the CEO of Never Throw in the Towel Project. Anthony, thanks for joining us.
Hello, thank you very much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, absolutely. And we've pulled out all the stops for you today. You've noticed as we've been getting set up, we've been a bit rusty. And that's because all of this tech here, without sort of putting pressure on you, we've done just for you, just so that we could get you on Zoom. So I don't need to feel bad or anything, but this is all for you. Does it sound and look all right from where you're sat?
Fantastic.
Amazing. Well, look, obviously we've been connected on LinkedIn for quite a while now, and I've seen what you've been up to, and I think what you do and what you talk about is fantastic. But just for our viewers, just for our listeners, can you tell us a bit about you, what you do, and what the project's all about?
So once again, thanks very much for having me on the podcast, and like you said, all this for me, so feeling very special. So I am the founder of the Never Throw in the Towel project, and that is a project that is tackling this huge problem that we have with suicide. So there's multiple things that I do with the project. I hold monthly free retreats where I get groups of men out in nature doing a walk and talk. We do exercise, we do breath work, and we all have a cold water dip at the end. I hold a podcast as well, Never Throw in the Towel podcast, and that is geared around storytelling of people who have been through hard times and had to show resilience. And then the third thing that I do with the project, I combine storytelling with a pop-up barbershop. So I go into organizations and I share my story of my lived experience that I experienced with mental health struggles and not being in a good place. And then straight after, I have a pop-up barbershop. The pop-up barbershop is actually that safe space for men to talk. And I'm a huge advocate for that. I really do believe that we have to tailor mental health for men, because from my experience of working in the field, simply asking men to talk, having posters up, ask for help, it actually doesn't work.
Doesn't work, does it?
Men need a nudge and they need a safe space with no pressure or no stigma. The haircut and the pop-up barbershop does that. So that's what I do with the project.
Amazing. It all sounds fantastic. And Megan, Molly, we'll make sure that we shout out your podcast in our show notes, send people your way. What's the name of the podcast?
So it's Never Throw in the Towel project.
Oh, amazing. Fantastic. Available on Spotify and all the places, I assume?
Yeah, all of them, yeah. Spotify, YouTube, yeah.
Amazing. We'll make sure we share some links for you in the show notes and whatnot. But all sounds fascinating. If I can ask then, if you don't mind me asking, because I think it sounds like a good project. And, you know, speaking as a man, I think you're exactly right. We bottle things up. We don't talk. We know we should, and we keep things stum. We're not like the fairer sex, dare I say, and actually have conversations. But what was your motivation behind it all then, if you don't mind me asking?
So for me, it does have a strong feeling of huge purpose, and it has a feeling as I feel as if I was meant to do this, and I hope that doesn't sound corny or cheesy.
No, I love it.
There's basically been chapters in my life that have led me to setting up this project. The first one was I had my own struggles from an extreme taste of fame when I won a reality TV show. And then once I'd come out of that, I got back into the hair industry and found myself as a barber. I was, at times an unofficial therapist where I had men open up to me in the chair, and I've got countless stories of that where men have opened up in the chair. So I always had a bit of a niggle in me that I always had a lot of empathy of wanting to help around that topic. And then the final nudge, the final thing actually came from the passing of my grandma. So I got brought up by my grandma. Absolute, had literally the most special relationship with this woman. A little funny fact: when I was actually on Big Brother back then, to win the show, you actually had to pick up the phone and vote.
Yeah.
And inside a week, my granny racked up a £4,000 phone bill just to get me to win the show. And
that's cute.
The funny thing was, the very first thing that I screamed out loud live on Channel 4 was I screamed, "Granny Hutton, I did it." And she replied in a sitting room saying, "Thank God you can pay the phone bill." So, I had such an incredible relationship with this woman. When my grandma passed away, when it was time when there was conversations of organising the funeral, there was conversations that came about who's going to do grandma's eulogy, and I requested to the family. I said, let me do this eulogy, and I took the eulogy so serious. I literally locked myself away for a couple of days writing this amazing woman's story. And when I got to the end of the eulogy, when I was writing it, I told myself that the story isn't going to end on a negative. The story is going to end on a positive. And the project that I've set up is called Never Throw in the Towel, with the strapline, "Keep on living." And those were the words that I used right at the end of my grandma's eulogy. And that was describing her fighting spirit towards getting stage 4 cancer. And she literally, how she dealt with adversity, she fought all the way through until 2022. And when I done the eulogy, I spoke up to everyone in attendance and, shared, that's the mentality you have when you face adversity. Straight after the funeral, there was a man waiting for me outside the church. This man was in floods of tears. He'd attended the funeral, and I'd never met this man. And he grabbed my hand and said, "Thank you so much for that eulogy." The same night, the gentleman sent me a message on Facebook, and when I opened it up, he shared with me that for a long time that he'd been feeling suicidal, that he really was struggling with his mental health. He'd been seeing professional help, but he said, "I just need to let you know that I've clung onto the words that you spoke about your grandma, the words never throw in the towel."
Yeah.
And that just hit me, that message. And I kept on reading this message, and it just highlighted to me the the power of a story. So it lit the fire,
Yeah.
and I just actively started trying to speak on this topic. And when I got my first opportunity of speaking at an event, I got a phone call asking me, we're going to book you as a speaker. What would you like the talk to be called? And the first thing that came to my head was the talk's going to be called Never Throw in the Towel. And then from then, it's just snowballed.
Yeah, I love it. What a story. What a story. And I think the catalyst of using those conversations that happen naturally around a barber's chair, around that kind of situation is so nice. Do those conversations happen in your kind of salons, Megan?
Yeah,
or
just chat away.
Yeah.
Hairdressers and barbers, we get told everything.
I suppose you're sort of like the one time where people will just sit down and have a natter, have a chat, that kind of thing, won't they, really?
I mean, yeah, that one-to-one conversation, that one-to-one relationship that you build over time with your client actually is a very unique friendship. And I think it's just because you're also out of their circle, because sometimes I'll share stuff with my clients that I wouldn't share with my friends. And I think it's just because I know them really well, but they're actually outside of my bubble.
Yeah.
So I think it's, especially in the modern day world we live in now, everyone's glued to the mobile phones. This is like, it's the one time where you can sit down for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just with your phone, just having a chat, just having a conversation. And that's when sometimes the conversations, lead to real deep stories and connection.
Yeah, 100%. You touched upon some stuff that you were talking about earlier that I do want to kind of ask about. And what I will say is you've been so honest in the little questionnaire I send over to you before the show. So there's some stuff I want to dig into, and we do have to at some point talk about Chico from Puerto Rico. We'll pause that for now. I don't want to dwell too long on it, but obviously, these are moves. Was that Chico? Was
that was Chico? Sorry, that was. I just jumped. I couldn't help myself there. It's like a reflex.
We're gonna have to touch upon that, but
Absolutely.
Obviously, I don't want to dwell too much on it because there's so much more to you than this. But obviously, would I be right in saying that Big Brother played a big part in your life? You mentioned obviously, there was that fame afterwards and maybe like a drop off. Because without sounding like a massive fanboy, would you have watched 2005?
I was like 2 years old, so I'm going to say no.
No, but without sounding like a fanboy, I remember that season quite well, and I remember watching it. I probably did vote at some point. I can't say who I voted for. I'm sorry, because I just can't remember. But what was that like as an experience, and what happened afterwards?
Yeah, so touching on what you've just said, it's a huge part of my life. It still plays a actual big part, to be honest. It still opens doors. Has it, did it have negative points? Yes, absolutely. But all in all, there's nothing that I wouldn't change anything. The Big Brother experience was absolutely unbelievable. So I was a huge fan of the show. So I mean, back then it was I thought it was an amazing show, and primarily I was a fan. And getting on Big Brother, Big Brother was for me it was the opportunity to change something in my life. So all of my whole youth, I was just ridiculously dedicated to trying to be a footballer. And like most young men, that dream didn't come off. So it left me with no education at all. And the first job that I got was a postman. And pretty much the postman was pretty much the best thing I could do, really. It was an unskilled job. But when I was doing it, it just didn't sit right with me. And I was like, this can't be it.
Mm.
And then so I was just racking my brains of how can I change things up in my life. I need something more. I want more money. I want more success. How can I do it? And the thoughts came into my head of, oh, what if I get on Big Brother? Because at the time it was a huge TV show.
It was well in its as a TV show. It was well in its prime then, wasn't it? Sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk you. It was well in its prime then when you went on it. It was a couple of seasons. It was like what everyone watched every night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a massive, yeah, it was a massive TV show. So where, the thought, I've always been extremely driven and dedicated and almost a bit obsessive with things like like the traits that I used to have of trying to be a footballer. Those 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 thoughts and traits started coming into my head about getting on Big Brother. So I basically became obsessive with trying to get on. And I remember setting off at 3:30 in the morning to drive to Manchester to get to the queues for the auditions. And a lot of people were doing it for fun,
Yeah.
whereas I wasn't there to make friends. I was literally throwing the kitchen sink at getting on the show. And I turned up, told them I was Anthony from Newcastle, and I'm also Chico Importante, teeth of whiteness, arse of tightness. So that pretty much got me on the show, and then thankfully I won it, and yeah, done some really, done some amazing fun things.
I love all that. We're going to have to ask about Chico. Actually, no, before we move on to Chico, actually, because you keep mentioning him, what, in terms of what happened thereafter then, obviously we don't have to spend too long on it if not, but what happened after you left the house? You'd obviously won, great news, you were everywhere, weren't you, in all the tabloids, everything. How did that affect you as a person?
So all of the good stuff, I was like, I took to duck to water in terms of the fame, the attention, all of that. I absolutely loved, to be honest. That didn't faze me in the slightest. The next day was equally as crazy after I'd won £50,000 for winning the show. The next day, I got whisked off to a mansion to do an OK photo shoot and got £200,000.
Wow.
So there was extreme highs. The problem that I had was when it all stopped, when no work was coming in, and then it got to the point where literally I wasn't doing anything, and then it got to the point of, oh, it looks like I'm going to have to get a normal job here.
Yeah.
And the ego, the pride, and the paranoia of what I'd cooked up in my head. If I'd got a normal job, I thought I would get laughed at, and really cooked up in my head. And that spiraled into being depression. To classically turn to alcohol and whatnot to escape, and got into a bad place. But it was, fundamentally, like, in reflection, it was heavily due to financial difficulties.
Yeah.
And also, cooking up in my own head that I'd get laughed at if I got a normal job.
Yeah. And I will say, I think it's quite brave of you to be honest and vulnerable about that, because it must happen so much, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I've met, I think, doing the reality TV show stint, especially back then, because now you can pursue a career because you have social media. So, if you do a reality TV show now, like Love Island, and you've got 3 million followers on socials, 4 million on socials, that literally, can turn into any form of business. Back then you had a window it was the classic 15 minutes of fame. I was only a young immature man, So I just deludedly thought, everything's just going to continue, and it didn't. But you know what? There were like all of those laws and those losses. I wouldn't change, because it's carved who I am now. Um, and I would like to think I've flipped all of those negatives into positives. That's the mindset that I come from.
And that's what this podcast is all about, really. It's to remind people that life isn't always upwards. Life isn't always win, 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 win. There's the highs, the lows.
Yeah.
And I know Megan's got one key thing to ask you in a minute. But what I love is you put on the questionnaire I send out, I said, what's been your biggest failure in business? And you have said, I failed many times, but I wouldn't change anything, as I see them as lessons now rather than failure. Which, like I say, that statement alone, Anthony, just personifies what we're trying to do here. So thank you. But I know Megan's...
You know what? Something that I've realized with experience, all of the most successful people that I've ever met, they've failed endless amount of times. Yeah. It's just the process of just like going again.
Absolutely.
Never throwing in the towel, right?
Absolutely.
Too right. Go on, Megan. I know you've got a question.
No, it's a killer question. I actually have two questions.
Oh, okay.
I'll make it quick. So, the killer question we ask every week is, how have you failed this week? It can be anything. How have you failed this week?
This week?
This week, yeah.
Oh my God, I do endless fails. I could shout my wife in right now, and she'll tell you about the job list, things that don't get don't get done. It's probably the little things, really, that those things. I'm trying to think what it was. There was I had a job list, and there was something that I didn't do. I'd done all of the rest, but my wife this morning pulled me up and told me I didn't do it.
We all have those jobs that are never quite complete, though, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I've never been diagnosed, and I certainly don't like to have it as an excuse, because I do think it's a superpower, but ADHD. So I'm a million miles an hour, and I'm all over the place, and sometimes me brain is completely scrambled, and that's something that I continue having to try and work on. But I can get very easily distracted. So yeah, it's, to answer your question, it's probably the little job list that I had yesterday. I didn't do all.
Didn't get done. Fair enough. My second question is, as a barber, in your professional opinion, what do you think of Rob's hair?
I was actually going to comment on his hair before. He has got beautiful hair.
Oh my gosh! You can come again. So I didn't hear that. Sorry. Can you just say it again? So what did you say? Sorry.
Beautiful hair. Absolute beautiful hair.
I'm gonna make a living off that. Thank you so much. It's always out for debate. I think it's fair. I used to have it, short, typical lad, short back and sides, bit of a quiff, Started growing it out last year, and I'm trying to be modest, but I'm a big fan.
Well, I am a little bit envious, because I had similar hair I always loved.
You've always had long hair, but yeah.
It was similar style, but I actually had a boxing fight in December, and it was getting in my eyes. Yeah. And the guy who I was fighting, I got told that he was taking it incredibly serious. So I just went to the barbers, and I just said, look, I just take it all off.
Yeah. Are you gonna grow it back out? Are you gonna go for the length again?
At some stage, I think, Mike, because I did love, I've got a half decent head of hair, so I did always love having longer hair.
Yeah. That backfired on you, Megan, didn't
Slightly,
it?
yeah.
That backfired on you. Well, before we, yeah, thank you. Well, our rudimentary way of filming is saying we've got about 6 minutes left to film. So, is it worth us playing Mystery Mishaps with Anthony now? Are you up for a quick game of Mystery Mishaps, Anthony? Amazing. What I'll do. So I'll allow. Do you mind? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little snapshot of you to add to our. What do you mean?
With a photo.
So I'll take a photo of the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it might work.
Yeah,
So Anthony, the rules of Mystery Mishaps. It's a great game. We're going to share with you 5 clues about a business that's gone bust or had some issues or had a bit of a boo-boo. Right? You've got to guess who that business is within a quicker short period as possible. Okay, so this here is our leaderboard. We call her the Taylor Time Tracker. So as you can see, leading the scores is Molly at 11 seconds. So you've got a tight one to beat. Myself at 2 minutes 14, and leading up the rear is Megan on 2 minutes 22. So Megan will share with you 5 clues. You've got to guess the business of who you think made these boo-boos. Is that clear? Do you understand the rules of the game?
I think so. I'm going to warn you now, though. I probably will be the thickest guest you've ever had.
Well, I think you'll like this one. So what I'll do, if you pose nicely, I'll take a photo. Cue the music, Megan, Molly. Let's get. Oh, where's the smile for me? There we go. I don't know how well that'll turn out. I'll show you in due course. Right, Megan, over to you.
Are you ready?
Oh, we need to time it, don't we?
Yeah, get your timer.
We need to time it.
Hold
Right,
on.
let me just get this tied up. Right, okay. No, that's a calculator. I don't need that. Bear me 1 second. Clock. Here we go. Stopwatch. Right, is everyone ready? Anthony, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. On your marks, get set, go.
Clue number 1. This UK hairdressing chain, known for its no-frills, budget-friendly cuts, operates across high streets with a focus on quick service for busy customers. Any guesses?
Any ideas so far?
Tony and Guy?
No, it's not Tony and Guy. Did I put the answer on there?
No. Okay, so I don't actually know the answer either. This is great.
I know the answer. If you say the answer, I'll know it. Okay.
Clue number 2. In 2025, it shuttered several... Shuttered? Shut,
yeah.
Yeah, okay. It shut several of its salons, citing rising costs and a failure to keep up with the digital evolution sweeping the industry.
Saks?
No, not Saks.
Number 3. The company's troubles were compounded by a lack of investment in staff training, leaving it unable to compete with the trend-savvy independent stylists. Nope.
Struggling here.
Number 4. Its parent company, a major player in the global salon market, faced criticism for not adapting its UK operations to the growing demand for personalised and eco-friendly services.
I'm probably going to look even more stupid than I actually said, because I should know this bit working in the hair.
Well, no pressure. No pressure, but I chose an industry I thought you'd be aware of.
Yeah, no, this is why I'm looking extra. I told you I'll be the thickest guest that you've ever had.
No, not at all. Right, final question.
We've got one last clue. The brand's name suggests a speedy, efficient haircut experience, but its recent closures hint at a business model that didn't quite make the cut.
The name is literally said in that whole sentence.
Is it?
Yeah, but in 2 different words.
Say it one more time.
The brand's name suggests a speedy, efficient haircut experience, but its recent closures hint at a business model that didn't quite make the cut.
Speedy cuts?
Oh, so close. Think of that first word.
Speed cuts?
Kind of. A bit more.
Ascot.
Oh!
Rob, you've confused it because it doesn't say the first word in that sentence.
Do you not?
No.
Oh, okay. Think.
Man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a hero. Hero. Something man.
Sorry, say that again.
Think of a well-known hero whose name is man.
Supercuts.
Supercuts. There we go. We got it. Yes.
I've never heard of that company ever in my life.
Well, probably for the best. 2 minutes 59 was your time there, Anthony. So I'm afraid you have slipped below Megan on the leaderboard. I'm sorry to say. I'll get you put up there officially.
I wasn't confident in doing well from this, to be honest.
No. Well, look. We'll give a bit of an explanation to Supercuts at another time because, again, I'm looking at our rudimentary way of recording. We've got about a minute left. Anthony, before we wrap up, tell us where people can get in touch with you. Tell us about what you've got coming up over the next couple of weeks. Plug away as best you can.
Right, so you can find me on all form of social media platforms, Never Throw in the Towel Project or Anthony Hutton on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. What else? The podcast's called Never Throw in the Towel Project. What am I doing? I mean, if you ever just want to book a speaker around mental health or resilience, please get in touch. And that's pretty much about that's it. My website is literally on getting done, so I can't plug that yet, but that is literally getting done as we speak.
Amazing. Well, Anthony, we'll say goodbye, but what we'll do is we'll restart the Zoom call in about 5 minutes again just to say goodbye officially, if that's all okay, because I think you're going to disappear in 1 second.
Any second now.
So, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. I'd love to have you back because there's so much more. We still didn't talk about Chico. Oh, no, we've lost him.
Oh.
We've lost him.
No, because we plugged Chico so much.
Well, look, we've grabbed Anthony back because there was so much we needed to ask. So, Anthony, did I tell you what your official time was on the game of Mystery Mishaps? Did you hear what your official time was? Or would you rather not?
Well, I can't remember the official time, but I know that I'm last.
I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you. The unfortunate thing is you are last. Okay, I think Megan's quite happy about that.
I'm thrilled, yeah.
Because now Megan's no longer saying last. But I don't think it's a unrespectable time. So you came in at 2 minutes 59. So I assume that will position you somewhere on the legs of Taylor Swift somewhere. So we'll get you stuck up officially. But just to give a bit of a synopsis to Supercuts. So had you never heard of Supercuts then?
You know what? I actually hadn't heard of them.
Had you heard of them?
No.
I'm sure they're a real company. I hope they are. So yeah, quick synopsis.
And I've always sourced. I've always been extremely particular where I got my hair cut, and speedy cuts doesn't sound the place for me.
No, so not with luscious hair. When you get hair like ours, Anthony, you got to be really careful with it, haven't you? Really careful. So they're owned by the Regis Corporation. They face challenges in 2025. They saw a workforce decline of 7.5%, salon closures due to economic pressures and so on. So they just, unfortunately didn't quite make it. We'll have to do some more research, see if there was one in Leicester, maybe. But right, we've hinted at it enough, Anthony, and you've shown off some of the moves. And look, the camera's yours if you want to show off some more. But I'd like you to introduce us to. Let me just get my notes here. The person who has teeth of whiteness with the ass of tightness. What is that all about? Tell us.
Yeah, no. So I was the face of Colgate, 1977. And
really?
Like you said, the teeth of whiteness, arse of tightness. I went by the character name Chico Importante from Puerto Rico. So that honestly, that job it wasn't even a job, to be honest. It was literally the best ever job or experience you could do as a young single man. I got into a dance troupe called Stretch Limo's Boogie Express, and we basically toured all around the northeastern Scotland, and we'd done this like a 70s disco dance troupe. And my God, wow, what just the stories and the experience was phenomenal.
Are you allowed to share any stories?
Oh God, probably all of the good ones, but no, it was just the characters. If I lay out the characters, we used to get introduced on stage. So there was a Frankie Fertile, and
Lovely.
his strap line was one night with this nappy, 9 month time you're going to be changing a baby's nappy. There was a guy called there was Billy Ray Valentine. Now, excuse my French, but this young gentleman had a penis like a baseball bat.
Is this proven? Have you seen it? Is it proven, or is it just a story?
No, yeah, no, I did. I actually did see it because I used to stay in hotels. I used to stay in hotel room with him, like every weekend.
Yeah.
And so he wore these chaps, and they kind of like emphasized and revealed his crotch area. And you would always just see females just pointing at each other and like, you going, wow, is that real? And he introduced as Billy Ray Valentine. He's packed full of fun with his 12-inch love gun. So I'm really sorry to lower the tone on this, but
I'm all here for
I'm
it.
here for it.
I'm just sharing the stories really. But it was
Obviously not for that man in particular. Are there any photos of this? I feel like we need to see photos of the group. What was the name of the group again?
It was called Stretch Limos Boogie Express. So this was back in early 2000, but there is a couple of like short snippet videos on YouTube. I think there might be a couple. But yeah, just when you look back at your life and you just think, wow, what a fantastic experience that was, doing that job. We all keep in touch now. Most of the lads actually, they've all went on to do really, really good things career wise. But yeah, it was just such a fantastic job, and it was telling the story. So it always gets giggles when you share it.
And again, it's those kind of things. They're always like a short chapter in your life, a little bit. So this may surprise you. I used to be a naked butler. So I used to be a butler in the buff. So very similar kind of stuff. I didn't have a little tagline, I'm afraid. I didn't have like a little song about me or anything. But it's funny, a lot of the guys that I used to do it with, again, have gone on to do such like incredible stuff. Like, obviously I've got the business and everything and what I do. Two of the guys are really, really good doctors, really good consultants and doctors, quite high up in the NHS and everything. And it goes to show that, again, that's a small chapter of what goes on after, right?
Like one of the guys is like, I think he's director at Aldi. One of the other guys, he built up an enormous recruitment company and sold it for multi-millions of pounds. The other one went to be a compere, and he like as in a boxing compere where he's doing it on Sky Sports. And the other, there's one who lives in Canada. Yeah, we've all got actually quite interesting stories actually after we've done that job.
Yeah, absolutely.
In reflection though, we were all enormous characters, like in our, like, personally.
It sounds like one of them was enormous anyway. Yeah.
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 I'm going to leave it to Molly behind the scenes to try and find one of the photos of all the gang together. We'll try and do some internet research, maybe. What do you think? And we'll get that shared, I think.
On my wedding, we actually, the guys came to my wedding, and we actually we done a wedding dance for about, it was like a 10-minute stint, but it was fantastic. We all met on the night, and honestly, literally within 5 minutes, we just knew that it just hadn't gone.
Just came
we
back.
knew all of the routines off by heart, just purely from muscle memory.
I love that. Megan, I don't want to kind of embarrass her, but Megan is a fantastic dancer. Megan has been dancing since the age of 2 when you were back on Big Brother back in the day. And teaches dance now. Are you able to? It's going to be a bit weird over Zoom. Can you maybe teach Megan any of the moves that you used to do? Do you think?
I mean, you've got obviously the classic, the classic John Travolta stance. Okay. And then obviously you've got the classic disco move.
Hold on.
Then there's
oh, look at this!
The roll around. Yeah.
Fair, well done, fair play. That was all right.
The karate chop.
Oh.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic dance moves that just always, they just never go out of fashion on the dance floor. Always show stopping.
Well, maybe look, if we get the How I Failed in Business podcast on tour, we'll have to come up to you. We'll have to do a session together. Maybe you can teach us a full routine. What do you think? Do you reckon you can?
Absolutely. Yeah,
amazing.
We'll do. We'll do. You know what it is? I'm so excited. So I'm actually going dressed up as Chico Importante again this Friday. So me and my wife. My wife's a construction solicitor, and I do a lot of my speaking in work in construction. So we've both been invited to this massive construction event held by Turner and Townsend, and I was considering going in any case, but then I got told the theme was 70s disco. I was like, oh, I am getting my flares out, and my wife's all going glamorous and looking all dressed up, but I'm actually pulling on me white flares and my disco shirt.
Chico's coming back. I love it. Can you? Well, look, if you feel up to it, do us a favour. Can you send us a photo of you dressed up at some point? Send it over on LinkedIn or whatever. We'd love to see it if that's all okay.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, look, we've taken up enough of your time. You've been an absolute great sport, and I do feel like we could chat for ages. Just one final question from me, unless Megan's got any. For anyone that's going through a period of, we'll use the word failure, or a low part in their life, or maybe they've seen a chapter close that they thought was the highlight of their life and things won't get better, what's the piece of advice you'd give to them?
It would be simple, really, of what my project is simply never ever give up. Always just keep on going. The bad times or the bad things never last. You can always come back, and from my personal experience, the comeback is always extra sweet. And yeah, just everyone fails. It's just about the one. I think the successful people are actually the ones who are able to just keep going and actually learn from the losses. That would pretty much be my advice.
Couldn't agree more. If there's anything we're going to clip out of this, it's going to be that. That was a lovely thing, Anthony. So thank you. Is there any other questions from you, Megan?
I don't think so. No.
Well, look, don't vanish too far, because I know Molly's going to want to take a photo of all three of us sat here. But again, and this is the final time, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, Anthony. We will have to do it again if you feel up for it. And thank you for being such a good sport.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I've enjoyed it. I've never Yeah, I can't remember the last time I danced on a podcast. So this is the first I've been asked to do a few moves.
Amazing. And we'll do it all again. Don't worry if we can. So thank you so much for joining us. And
Actually, before we go, can you do one dance move, Rob? Can you? What would your little?
Oh my gosh! What are my signature? I've got the classic two-step dad dance down to a T. I've got. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. You know, I've got the classic the two-step.
All right, yeah. That is really dad. That is textbook dad dancing.
Give me a move. Give me a move. I'll try and replicate it.
I think that one. Can you do that one?
I don't think I'm loose enough. Right, you ready? Oh God, Tim.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to take your eye. How's that looking? Is that all right?
Yeah, you just need to not hold your. It looks like you're holding your breath.
I was.
You just breathe. You just need to be a bit more relaxed and enjoy it.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, you have to get breath into it.
That's better.
Yeah, it's funny when you breathe, things feel a bit better, don't they?
Yeah.
There we go. I don't think you'll be inviting me into your dance troupe anytime soon, but maybe with some more lessons from Megan as well. I don't know.
We maybe can get you there.
Yeah, but Anthony, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. Stay on the line. We'll take some photos and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.
What a great episode that was.
It was
How nice
so
was Anthony?
good. He was so lovely.
Yeah, he was. What was your favourite part of the interview?
Watching you hit yourself in your face.
Oh, I can't believe I did that. Did we pick that up on that camera? Did we see it?
Yes, we did.
What an idiot. I think what I'd done is I loosened up. Firstly, I wasn't breathing. Yeah. It's a bit weird. And then I loosened up and then I just went, oh.
You just got too much. I'm just like Taylor now.
Oh, no, sorry, sorry.
I think how passionate he was about what he does as well was really nice to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved the story about apologies. Was it his nana or grandma?
Yeah, it was his grandma.
Yeah. I loved that story. And what I loved, I loved the support that she gave him.
Yeah.
I thought that was
a funny story, but it was, yeah.
But
that's crazy.
What I loved about that story is it was nice to see that support that he got.
Yeah.
But also it reminded me of the old technology we used to have. Because you did have to call in. You had to call it. I think it then moved to SMS. I could be wrong, but you had to, it's not like an app now or online. No. It was absolute bless her heart. I wonder if he'd have won.
If it had
enough. But he was, honestly, without sounding like a fanboy, I remember that season of Big Brother. It was when I was massively into it. Because now Big Brother is still going.
Yeah, they've just done one. Didn't it it went off a bit and then came back, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's not like it is now. It was the thing that everyone watched.
I think now as well it's got into the point where people... I mean, it's Celebrity Big Brother now, isn't it?
But I think they do both, don't they?
I think I don't know. The most recent one was Celebrity Brother because you've got Chris Hughes and Jojo Siwa.
Oh, of course, yes.
That was just recent. But I think now it's turned into something that's more who can the biggest names on there. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it was back in the day when it's genuine people, and it's not as genuine.
No, absolutely.
It's more staged and forced, I think.
Yeah. But he was a great guy, great to chat. Yeah. And again, like a lot of our guests, I feel like we could have just sat here and chatted
absolutely.
For a while. But listen, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of How I Failed in Business. We will share in the show notes below various links to Anthony and the work that Anthony's doing and his podcast. Yeah. So before you go anywhere, make sure you hit that follow button on ours, right? But follow his as well. Do you want to wrap off? We've not written anything.
We've not written any show notes.
Do you want to?
I'll do what I can.
Go on, over to you.
Okay, ready with the music?
Oh God, yeah, we need music. Sorry, yeah.
And that's a wrap on this week's episode.
Why's your voice changed? Your voice completely changed.
And that's a wrap on this week. That sounds boring.
Go back to how you were before. Go back to how you were before.
Okay, and that's a wrap.
There we go. Showtime, Megan.
Yeah, and that's a wrap. Can I go?
No, carry on. It's good.
Okay, no interruptions, perfect. And that's a wrap on this week's episode of How I Failed in Business. I've been Megan Grace.
And I've been Rob Spence.
And this has been Anthony Hutton.
This is Anthony Hutton.
Thanks for listening.
That's the sound. That's the wrap round. The wrap off.
Well, I say something and then you say something. So I was sort of waiting for you to jump in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.